Hello, my Jedi friends. In today's episode, I ask, how dark is your soul? How dark is it? So we hear the dark night of the soul, but what does it actually mean? What does that really mean? Does it mean you get a bit depressed, you're having a bad time? But is your soul really dark? Is it dark? And we're really going to explore that on on a much deeper level than you probably have before. We're really going to ask, is your soul dark? And how dark is it? How dark is it? And what does that even mean? What does it even mean, my Jedi friends, when we ask that question? Your dark night of the soul. So I'm going to give you a lot of my opinions, and it may be true, it may not be true, but let's see how it resonates for you. As somebody that would consider myself of having a dark night of the soul or two, and I've talked about it because all of this stuff intertwines with feeling very low, feeling suicidal, hitting the end of the tunnel, being in a space where you start to see things a lot clearer. And a low space, maybe people are turning up in your life, your world is collapsing, the end of a relationship, a job, the death of a loved one, of a mentor. And we've all had those dark nights. And when all of these things they come together, they happen in threes. Have you heard that one before? These things happen in threes. Well, just consider the energy of that. If it was only three, I would be happy on my dark night of the soul, my Jedi friends, quite frankly. Quite frankly, yes. It is the acknowledgement that life as you see it is not quite what it is. It is the reconfiguration of your mind to see the world slightly differently. That's what it ultimately leads to. It is the end of the road of delusion. Because to hit the dark night of the soul, you've got to be so far off track that the universe needed to wake you up. And we talk about this as well. What is the awakening? So here it is. Let me get to this. Let me get to the point really quickly, and then we can discuss it. The dark night of the soul is the realization that you ain't all good. You are not all good, my Jedi friends. Even the lightest healer, light worker, empath, the loveliest person that you know, there's a set of circumstances where you would do dark things. Now, just because your life circumstances haven't led you to a place where you've had to seriously explore that, it is the acknowledgement that darkness runs through us as well. So, in the world of healing, for empaths, for light workers, for star seeds, all of these good people in touch with the spirits, the forces of good, it's the acknowledgement that you ain't all good, that there are things that could get you to act quite bad. It's good to be bad. It's good to be bad, my Jedi friends. And what does that mean? What does it mean? Well, let's face it. I mean, certainly in the Last Jedi Training Academy, one of our candidates lives in Ukraine. And part of the deal there is that you don't get a choice whether you get put on the front line or not. Whether you want to fight or flight, there's no choice. Sometimes it's fight. That's it. So if you were put in that situation, if your borders were invaded and suddenly you were told you had to go and fight for your life, how light would you be? Could you say, no, I'm a healer. No, I'm sorry. As the enemy runs over the hills with their guns, with the sole intent to take you out. What would you do then, my Jedi friends? What would you do? What would you do? Now, that might seem like something from a dystopian film, might seem like something that doesn't happen around your neck of the woods. But what if? The bottom line is, what if? What would you do? What would you do if that situation occurred? And the fact is, most of us have never been put in a position where we find out. And this goes back to the actual window, Johari's window, the video where I discussed it, Johari's window. It is the part of us that we do not know. There is a part of you that you do not know. And this is what we're talking about here. that a lot of judgment of others, of stuff that people do or say, or terrible things, it's very easy to be judgmental of people that haven't been in a war zone. So part of my travels was I traveled to Cambodia back in the 90s, my Jedi friends, and I went to the killing fields. Now, just imagine a situation where you wake up one day and some lunatic gives a load of kids guns and tells them to shoot anyone with an education. Gives kids the authority to go around shooting people. That was the reality of Cambodia, my friends, in my lifetime. That happened in my lifetime. And these lunatic situations that maybe you hear news reports, maybe you see what's going on the other side of the world, maybe you hear about these rebellions, maybe you hear about these pirate ships that go. But the reality is that some people are put in situations where they're forced to fight for their life. And the question is, what would you do? What would you do? Now, you do not have to seriously consider that. But the point being is, when we talk about dark night of the soul, that's what I'm talking about. There's a whole set of circumstances that you've probably never been even close to being subjected to, where you are potentially a very dark soul, very dark. Now, it could be justified fighting for the forces of good. Let's face it, how many religions out there is where they're justified to go to war in the name of their God? Now, they're very strange religions, I would say, but it is the reality for them. And if that is people's divine belief, then so be it. What if you, not following someone else's religion, and a band of lunatics coming over into your front yard and you either convert or die, or you just die anyway because you weren't the right religion? And these things happen globally, they happen not just recently, but over history, time and time and time again. Human species is a warrior of races. It is made of warrior races. And me being a lunatic historian, I like to go back in past. I like to study history. And for as long back as we can go, it is just one dominant race taking over another. And that is just the way of the world, my Jedi friends. That certain situations, only relatively recent in history, that it's not worldwide that this stuff happens. There's always somebody to come and conquer you. There's always somebody to piss you off to come into your front yard and say, no, we're going to claim your land because we've got guns. We've got guns. We've got weapons. We'll kill you if you don't. We might just kill you anyway. That is the reality of it, my Jedi friends. And being spiritual is all well and good when everything is provided and there's no war at your doorstep. But the war of your doorstep to most people is the dark night of the soul. And at some level, it is the acknowledgement that you are not who you think you are. Now let that sink in. Let that sink in, my Jedi friends. You are not who you think you are. If you think that you wouldn't kill someone if they invaded you, or if they were going to take out your family, or if they were going to do something dark to you, you've probably never been put in that position. And that, my friends, is what the dark soul is about. We can talk about the dark night of the soul of having a really bad time, of being depressed, or being low, or being suicidal. But the reality of the human nature is we have darkness within us. There is darkness within your soul. Now, you may have lived the best life of being nice to everybody. You may have lived that life, my Jedi friends. That may be you. You may say, no way, I would rather die. I'd rather die than compromise my beliefs, compromise my goodness. And yet, if somebody that you loved, their life was on the line and you had to make a decision, either the person that's going to kill them that you've never seen before that decided to invade your front, your house or whatever it is, or the person that you love, then you might be a little bit more inclined to make that decision, my Jedi friends. The point being, I hope that you're never put in that position. But the reality of exploring how dark is your soul is the acknowledgement that that could happen to you. Probably think, no, wouldn't happen to me, Adam. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. That would never happen to me. But it is the thinking that it would never happen and the refusal to go there that is Johari's window. And that is where the darkness of the soul gets lost. Don't explore it. Don't acknowledge that there's a set of circumstances that could take you to a very dark place, and not necessarily one of depression. So there you go, my Jedi friends. I just thought I'd throw the cat amongst the pigeons today to my fellow spiritual workers, the spiritual warriors, talking about the dark night of the soul and personal development and spiritual growth. In my reality, spiritual growth is the acknowledgement that you are dark as well as light. You are dark as well as light. And let's face it, the people that are just dark, and that those people exist, they're never even going to have this debate. So if you're there thinking, am I dark? Then the odds are you're probably not. Well, you probably are. We're all dark. That's the whole point. We all have a darkness within us. If you're asking the question, am I good? Then let's put it this way. Someone that was really bad or very much on the dark side would never even ask themselves that question. So busy being right and justified in what they do. And that is the reality of the situation, my Jedi friends. So on that enlightening note, I know I've taken you to a very strange place today, but these things have to be said. People have to awaken to the spiritual truth that the darkness lies within you, my friend. It lies within you. And acknowledging your darkness, making friends with your darkness, knowing that it is part of you and integrating it into your being is part of the journey of the dark night of the soul in real essence. It's the acknowledgement that it is part of you, that you don't know yourself as well as you might think. You may be very lucky that your life situation hasn't taken you to the point where you've really truly got to discover and explore the total of your being. The total of your being, my Jedi friends. And if you are ready to explore that, if you are not fully acknowledging your darkness, then maybe you're watching this for a reason, especially if you're still tuned in right now, my Jedi friends. Because if you're still watching now, then you know within the core of your soul that there's darkness there. And that will set you free, my Jedi friends. It will set you free. You're far more likely to emanate your light from the point that you acknowledge that that darkness is there potentially and could come out if it needs to. And there may be a set of circumstances that you will be happy that that darkness is within you and you have the capacity to be a little bit dark, my Jedi friends. That is the way that we roll. It's the way that we roll. Maybe it isn't. Maybe you think it is. The odds are still watching, you know. And if you are still watching, definitely, if you're still watching, you know that what I'm talking about has an element of truth in it. And if you would like to explore this further and you're not already subscribed to the channel, then you definitely need to do so, my Jedi friends. If you want another video, just there. If you really want to take this to a different level, then look in the description of this video and get yourself booked on a Jedi Training Academy, because then you will discover who you really are, or certainly take a few steps closer towards it. Either way, my Jedi friends, explore your darkness so that you can shine your light.